When history is put on trial, the fight over the slavery exhibit. A federal judge has ordered the administration of Donald Trump to restore a slavery related exhibit at the White House. Let that settle. A judge had to order the restoration of history. Not a rumor, not a classroom debate, an exhibit at the president's house about enslaved people. And the question is bigger than the exhibit. The question is, what does it say about a country when the president wants Black history removed? The White House, the symbol of American democracy, was built by enslaved laborers. That is not opinion, that is documented fact. Enslaved Africans quarried the stone, cut the timber, laid the foundation. The House of Freedom was constructed by people who were not free. And that contradiction, that tension, that truth, it lives inside the walls. So when an administration attempts to remove or minimize an exhibit acknowledging slavery at the White House, this isn't about decor. It's about narrative. It's about who gets remembered and who gets erased. It's about whether the official story of America includes the people who forced labor built it. And when a judge has to step in to restore that history, it tells us something profound. History is being contested at the highest levels of power. Let's be honest. This is not the first time Black history has been treated as optional. We have seen fights over textbooks, fights over AP courses, fights over whether slavery was beneficial, fights over whether systemic racism exists. But this is the president's house. If slavery can be minimized there, where can it be protected? When leaders attempt to remove Black history from official spaces, it sends a message that discomfort is more important than truth, that protecting a national image is more important than acknowledging harm, that some histories are patriotic and others are inconvenient. But here's the reality: you cannot heal what you refuse to name. You cannot build unity on selective memory. You cannot preach liberty while editing out bondage. The White House wasn't just built by enslaved people. Presidents owned enslaved people. Policies were written that protected slavery. Laws were signed that expanded it. And for generations, the federal government defended the institution before it dismantled it. That history is not an attack on America. It is America, all of it. So, what does it say about this country when a president wants Black history removed? It says we are still struggling with truth. It says the myth of innocence is more comfortable than accountability. It says the fight over memory is really a fight over power, because whoever controls the narrative controls the future. Erasing history does not eliminate it, it relocates it. From museums to movements, from exhibits to protests, from textbooks to TikTok. If institutions won't teach it, communities will. If governments won't display it, scholars will document it. If presidents try to remove it, judges may restore it. But the fact that restoration is necessary, that is the headline. A slavery exhibit is not anti American, it is anti amnesia. It is an acknowledgement that democracy was imperfect at birth, that freedom was unevenly distributed, that progress required struggle, and that Black Americans were not passive recipients of liberty. They fought for it. They litigated for it. They organized for it. They died for it. This moment forces us to ask deeper questions. Who decides what is divisive? Who decides what is too much? Who decides what children should or should not learn? Because often, what is labeled divisive is simply truth told without anesthesia. Removing Black history from the White House would not make America stronger. It would only make America smaller, smaller in courage, smaller in honesty, smaller in moral imagination. A nation confident in itself does not fear its past. It studies it. It confronts it. It learns from it. If a judge must order the restoration of a slavery exhibit, it tells us this: the struggle over history is ongoing. But it also tells us something else. Truth still has defenders. And Black history does not depend on presidential approval to exist. It is embedded in the soil, in the architecture, in the Constitution's amendments, in the movements that reshape this country. You can remove a plaque. You cannot remove the past. You can hide an exhibit. You cannot hide the labor that built the house. And the question isn't whether history will survive. The question is whether America will mature enough to face it. Because when you try to erase Black history from the president's house, you're not just editing a museum. You're revealing a nation still at war with its own reflection.